served on the subcommittee in the House that is the counterpart of this subcommittee, and so it's wonderful to be here today. And if I'm doing something wrong on the microphone, maybe we can, maybe I'll be the guinea pig and it'll be ready for the rest of the panel. I appreciate the opportunity to appear on the subject of embryonic stem cell research. As you know, in 1995, I co-authored an amendment to the Labor HHS Appropriations Act prohibiting the use of taxpayer funds to create human embryos for research or support any research in which human embryos are harmed, destroyed, or subjected to risks not permitted for unborn children. This so-called Dickey-Wicker language has remained the law of the land for a decade and a half. In my opinion, the body of scientific evidence developed since 1995 has served only to strengthen the argument in favor of Dickey-Wicker. But the basic premise for the provision has not changed. It is this: number one, the destruction of or cloning of human embryos for research purposes raises profound moral and ethical challenges. Number two, the federal government should not be involved in subsidizing this controversial, life-altering research with taxpayer dollars. Number three, there are limited federal funds available for health-related research. Number four, if human embryonic research is to be done at all, it should be paid for with non-taxpayer funds. The chair mentioned Dr. James Thompson. He was the first to isolate human embryonic stem cells and one of the scientists who discovered the groundbreaking embryo-free way to produce genetically matched stem cells, known as induced pluripotent stem cells. Induced pluripotent stem cells are adult cells that have been genetically reprogrammed to an embryonic stem cell-like state. This discovery has changed the debate on embryonic stem cells. When discussing the ethics surrounding embryonic stem cell research, Dr. Thompson himself said, and I quote, "If human embryonic stem cell research does not make you at least a bit uncomfortable, you have not thought about it enough," unquote. Recent polling proves that embryonic stem cell research makes many Americans uncomfortable. According to a 2010 Rasmussen poll, 57% of Americans oppose taxpayer funding of embryonic stem cell research. In other words, the majority of Americans support the current ban on using taxpayer dollars to fund research in which embryos are destroyed. The question is, if we can use adult stem cells, reprogram them to act like embryonic stem cells, and avoid the ethical challenges, then why would we not take that approach? Some people would have us think that prohibiting federal funding of embryonic stem cell research is stopping science entirely. I disagree. As we all know, private funds can be used for this research and are being used for this purpose. The distinction is whether or not the federal government should be subsidizing controversial, life-altering research with taxpayer dollars, especially when the majority of Americans oppose such a move. Federal funding is scarce. Indeed, because of funding limits, we simply are unable to afford all the research we would like to do. I submit that we should use limited taxpayer dollars on already proven research demonstrated in areas like adult stem cells. Adult stem cells are the ones that are treating people right now. In fact, treatments have been so effective that many doctors have turned to adult stem cell transplants as a standard life-saving therapy for hundreds of thousands of people suffering from dozens of diseases and conditions, including cancer, juvenile diabetes, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, leukemia, lymphoma, spinal cord injuries, and corneal regeneration, among others, are turning to adult stem cell treatments for help. An estimated 50,000 adult stem cell transplants are occurring annually worldwide using stem cells from bone marrow, umbilical cord blood, and other tissues. Research with adult stem cells has produced therapies for more than 70 afflictions and demonstrated promising results. Advancements in this field are happening every day. Just 3 months ago, researchers reported they had restored vision to people whose eyes were damaged from chemicals. Doctors took stem cells from the patient's healthy eye and multiplied them in a lab to transplant to the damaged eye, where they grew into healthy corneal tissue. Preclinical trials to treat spinal cord injury patients have also proven to be promising in recent years. At age 16, Laura Dominguez was paralyzed from the neck down in a car accident. Doctors treated Laura for spinal cord injury using her own nasal adult stem cells. As a result of the surgery and extensive physical therapy, Laura has regained feeling and movement in her lower body, and she continues to make progress. Induced pluripotent stem cell research is another promising field. iPSCs are producing unprecedented opportunities in medicine, toxicology, and drug discoveries. All over the world, hospitals and laboratories are developing iPSCs from individuals with various diseases. For example, a clinic in Ontario, Canada, has already created over 130 iPSC lines for 11 diseases. This clinic is also working on making lines to address diseases such as autism and schizophrenia. If there are additional funds, Mr. Chairman, Congress should invest in this type of groundbreaking research. Supporters of embryonic stem cell research would like to ignore such accomplishments. They would suggest that providing federal tax dollars on embryonic stem cell research is the only means of getting results. However, the accomplishments among adult and pluripotent stem cell versus embryonic stem cells prove otherwise. I'm proud to say that for a decade and a half, the Dickey-Wicker Amendment has protected life. This debate involves profound ethical and moral questions. This is a matter of conscience for me, but more importantly, it is a matter of conscience for millions of Americans who are deeply troubled by the idea that their taxpayer dollars may be used to destroy another human life when there are other proven techniques available. Mr. Chairman and members of this subcommittee, I want to thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify on this important issue.
Senator Wicker, thank you very much for your statement.